Alright, so yesterday I got Dr. Octavius up to tier 4 and I've been having some fun with him. This guy is absolutely a monster, true and true. Even without the tier 4, he was absolutely fantastic. And because of that, I had a couple of you guys messaging me on Discord asking how this guy compares to the other 18 tier 4 characters currently in the game. Because as it stands, he is our 19th tier 4 character, 17 of which I currently have at tier 4. So I'm going to be ranking all of them today so you guys know my thought process and where they currently stand in the game. No, you do not need to have every tier 4. As you can see, I'm missing 2 of them, Captain America and Professor X being the 2 that I'm missing, and there is a reason for that. But we will dive into that later in this video. But before that, we're going to split these 19 characters into 6 different categories, starting with best in the game, then followed by ABL meta, ABX meta, World Boss Legend, Timeline Battle, and Alliance Tournament, and then we have strong but skippable. And the reason why I'm keeping this category here is for the simple fact that as it stands, it takes over a month, approximately 35 to 40 days for you to farm enough materials if you are a free-to-play to get one character to tier 4, and we get 2 tier 4s every month. So you're gonna need to consider skipping certain tier 4s if they're not super meta or necessary for a piece of content. If you're not spending, I would say, about $150 on the game every month minimum. So we're going to start at the bottom here, and by no means am I saying that these characters are weak, because as it stands, they're 19 of the strongest characters in the game because they have tier 4 at their disposal. But as more characters get tier 4, these characters are going to become weaker and weaker and weaker still. So as much as it pains me to do this, I have to put Blue Dragon here. She's very strong for Alliance Conquest. If you put her together with Sunbird, she can pretty much wipe out a whole team, but the game mode itself is not rewarding enough for the majority of the players. So I would say she's an easy skip for most people, and you don't really need her for World Boss Legend either because you have other female human superhero. Same goes for Ant-Man. Very powerful, but we also have a lot of strong superhero human characters at tier 3 and at tier 4, so there's realistically not much of a need for him, especially when you consider he doesn't have very many tags, so his utility in World Boss Legend is hindered by that. I don't think you can use him past stage 60 against any boss, which is a pretty big deal. Moving on, Captain America, very powerful. I would say he's easily skippable, but he's very strong for World Boss Legend, but easily skippable. And the same can be said for Professor X. This guy is very powerful, but there's truly no need for you to tier 40 character currently, so I would say he is easily skippable. Moving on, we have the Timeline Battle / Alliance Tournament category, and right here we have Hulk. Definitely get this guy to tier 4 because he's one of the best PvP characters in the game right now. Same goes for Carnage. Him and Hulk are easily 2 of the strongest PvP characters in the game right now, and I don't really see them going anywhere for a good little while unless we see like a large influx of blast PvP characters, and that might be coming because Adam Warlock is going to be getting tier 4, my guess, with the Guardians of the Galaxy update. So when he comes in, Hulk might get pushed out, but I don't know about Carnage because he's pretty toxic. Kind of forgot to put my guy, unfortunately, King of Light Venom. He has to go in strong but skippable. Very strong. Listen, all of these characters here can complete giant boss raid in anywhere from 2 to 4 minutes. A couple of them can do it as quickly as 90 seconds, which is the fastest I've been able to clear giant boss raid against Dormammu.
There he is, beating that dead horse. Get him!
So by no means am I saying these characters are weak. I'm just saying, comparatively speaking to other characters, you get more out of them compared to these characters at the bottom here. So if you want to tier 4 them because they're your favorite character, by all means do it. But just keep in mind, if this is where they are right now, as we get more and more tier 4 characters, they're just going to get pushed down further and further. So it's probably in your best interest to go for characters that are up here, because eventually they will go down here as well, but at least they're they're starting higher up, so they'll remain relevant longer. By the way, the reason why I put the timeline battle category so low down is because for the most part, Marvel Future Fight is a PvE game, so the majority of people playing focus pretty heavily on World Boss Legend, ABX, and ABL. They don't really focus on timeline battle, and Alliance Tournament is only available for a small minority of the players in the game, and this is where these two really pop off. Moving on, we have SpiderMan. We have to put him in the timeline battle and Alliance Tournament category. This is where he's currently doing the most work, otherwise he has to go in the skippable category. I noticed that he's a really good counter for Jean Grey, so if you do not play these game modes, he's an easy skip. You can put him down here with the rest of these guys. Moving on, we have Black Widow, and Black Widow gets a little bit of play in ABL, but she's not meta. Shadow Shell actually scores more than her. Where she actually outperforms Shadow Shell is actually ABX. It's very interesting because Black Widow can easily cap for ABX, but she gets outscored in ABL by Shadow Shell, and then for Shadow Shell struggles to cap in ABX, but she scores more than Black Widow in ABL. I'm not too sure how it worked out that this is the case, but with that in play, both of these characters remain relevant. Moving on, we have Storm, and Storm is definitely ABL meta. This is pretty much the only place that you use Storm, simply because of the fact that even though she has really high damage output, she's really fragile. I do like the fact that they improved their movement speed with this update, but for the most part, ABL is where you're going to get the most value out of Storm, and you need to have this Krakoan summer uniform. So if you don't have it, Storm is a easily skippable character, so keep that in mind. Next up, we have Magneto, and Magneto is going right here at the head of the ABL meta, even though he is ABL and ABX. So that's the reason why I'm putting him in front of Shadow Shell, because Shadow Shell is only ABL, and the same goes for Black Bolt and Dr. Octavius in this new uniform. And if we're gonna rank these guys based on the highest scores that they got in ABX and ABL, Dr. Octavius would actually be the head of this category, followed by Black Bolt. Believe it or not, I've seen him get 13 million, I believe 13.5 million in ABL, which is absolutely insane. The most I've seen with Black Bolt is about 11.8 million. So yeah, he's kind of nutty. Moving on, we have Moon Knight, and Moon Knight was ABL meta before Dr. Octavius. Unfortunately for him, he got knocked down a peg, and he's gonna go right here behind Black Widow. And it's not only that he's meta for Extreme Alliance Battle, he's also still necessary for Mephisto in World Boss Legend on stage 75 to 79. You actually cannot progress any further unless you have Moon Knight to clear this stage right here, because Moon Knight is the only tier 4 character that has the Weapon Master tag, as you can see right here. So you actually need this guy if you want to get all the way up to stage 99 against Mephisto. So yeah, Moon Knight has had one of the longest runs of all of the current tier 4 characters. Even Namor's run is coming to an end before Moon Knight, because with the addition of Dr. Octavius, Namor has now dropped down to only being a World Boss Legend character. And I know you guys are probably thinking, if Dr. Octavius is a combat villain and Moon Knight is a combat hero, why do we need Namor? Well, you only really need Namor if you're pushing high levels in World Boss Legend, because there's a couple stages that require you to have Namor. Let me just show you guys. So for one, against Gore on stage 50 here, you need a strong character, a character that has the strong tag, and Namor is the only character at tier 4 currently, so he's the one you're going to need to push through here. So that's why I put him in the World Boss Legend category, because there are specific tags in place that require this man to help you get through. Next up, we have Iron Man, and Iron Man to me personally is gonna have to go in the skippable category. We'll put him at the very top here. Like, he's really strong, especially for giant boss raid, but truthfully speaking, you no longer need him for anything. There's no restrictions in World Boss Legend that you need Iron Man specifically to push through like you do with Namor. And when it comes to ABX and ABL, Magneto is superior to Iron Man in every way. Next up, we have Thor, and Thor is gonna go right around here. He scores the lowest out of all of these guys because he doesn't have much support on his specific day, but you absolutely need him for ABL. And then last but not least, we have the queen of Marvel Future Fight, the most toxic character in the game, an absolute must-have, Jean Grey. You cannot go wrong with her. She covers all of these different areas in the game. You can use her in timeline battle to be super toxic. Alliance Tournament to be toxic. You need her for ABX to cap. You need her for ABL. The only thing that you don't really need her for is World Boss Legend. There's no specific tag that she's needed for to unlock a stage, but with her tapping into so many different areas where you absolutely need her, she's a must-have tier 4.